Rawteur. When you compare Roger's mouth the morning after the colony house attack to the monster's mouths, let's use our good friend Smiley as an example, this first hidden detail should bite you right away. When Roger first woke up, his mouth had been sewn shut. And when he started to force himself awake, he tore through the string holding his mouth closed. Now, that already made the scene disturbing, but the part that stood out to me more during the rewatch is what his mouth looks like after that. Because when you compare Roger's mouth to Smiley's mouth when Smiley transforms, there's a similar ripped, torn, lined look around the lips. Future me here, and looking at it now side by side, when you look at the eyes, even the eyes look like they're sunken in from having a button or something circular on them, and the eyes have the same tears on them as well. I'm not saying this confirms dolls become the monsters, but the visual comparison is strong enough to mention because the monsters' mouths don't just look like normal mouths with sharp teeth. Their mouths look almost like something had to be opened, torn, or revealed. Speaking of teeth, the teeth are similar also. Doll Roger's death showed us that hurting the dolls isn't random, and this facial connection with the creatures makes this next one all the more interesting. There may be a pattern to how the damage works. This one is easy to miss because the episode moves fast, and once the doll started attacking, the natural thing to focus on is the immediate danger. But when you compare the different doll attacks, something stands out. Elgin stabbed the doll in the back. Tabitha also stabbed the doll in the back. But Kenny was about to stab the milkman in the back, but he quickly turned around and gave him his chest to stab. My thinking is, if it wasn't going to hurt him either way, then why turn around? That turn made the chest feel intentional, like the milkman was making sure Kenny hit the wrong spot, especially since some people still think the totems can work on the creatures. Because if the dolls are connected to the creatures, then the placement of the stab may need to be specific. There may be a technique to it. This could be one of those things where the show is teaching us the rule before the characters understand the rule. Because that is something From does a lot. It shows us a pattern in pieces. Then later, the characters realize those pieces were instructions. So for now, I would keep an eye on how totems are used as weapons in the future. And the next one you missed is to like, hype, subscribe, and most importantly, share this video with anyone who watches the show. Because the next detail in this same scene may explain why the entire town is about to lose faith in the one thing keeping them alive. In the background of this same scene, there's a couple arguing, and this is a callback to something I predicted in an earlier video. The woman isn't just upset that Roger died, she's basically saying they're not safe anymore. And that makes sense because Roger didn't die the way people are used to seeing people die in this town. Usually, the monsters wait outside. The talisman goes up and the door stays shut. And everybody understands the basic rule. You stay inside. Don't open the door and you survive the night. But Roger broke the door down. So even if Roger wasn't a normal monster, and even if this was some different kind of attack, the emotional damage is the same. People saw something violate the one thing they believed protected them. And that may be the real point, because the talismans don't only protect the town physically, they also protect the residents psychologically. They're the only reason people can sleep at night. They're the only reason the houses feel like houses and not temporary coffins. So when Roger breaks through that door, he doesn't just break wood, he breaks trust. And now when the next night comes and we have more couples arguing in public, people are going to be wondering if those rocks still mean anything. That is why the couple arguing in the background matters. It's not random background noise. I mean, the camera actually zooms in on it, right? It's the entire frame at one point, right? This is the town reacting to the idea that the rules may have changed. Then, of course, we see Sophia standing there too, lurking as usual, watching her seeds of destabilization or destabilizing the town bear fruit, right? She's being nosy as usual, but what really stands out are the two things that happen after she takes the suit from Boyd's room. Sophia can only transform into the man in yellow if she has the suit. I mean, I think that's clear because otherwise there was no reason to take it. Plus, when you think about it, we haven't seen the man in yellow since the residents found it in the woods. But that would also suggest that Sophia can't change clothes without losing her disguise. So that's why she looked so uncomfortable when Sarah offered to help her find a new outfit. And that leads directly into Fatima, who I think is starting to resemble the Anghkooey children. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying she's turning into one of them because that wouldn't make much sense, but there is a striking resemblance. When I went back and I compared Fatima's marbling to the Anghkooey children, that is where the stronger visual connection appeared. And in case you didn't realize, marbling is what the discoloration and the veins that look like varicose veins, medically, I believe it's medically, I looked it up, they call it marbling. Now, Fatima's stomach has that same vein darkened pattern moving across her body. And the Anghkooey children also have that veined corpse-like look to them. So the connection I think matters most isn't Fatima becoming the kimono lady. I know there's been a lot of talk in our community about Fatima possibly connecting to the kimono lady, and I understand why people are looking at that. The clothing, the body condition, and the way Fatima has been tied to Smiley's return all make people look in that direction. But right now, I think the stronger visual evidence points to the children. Because remember, Fatima said that after she connected to Smiley, she felt something go cold inside of her. And what makes this worse is that Fatima's body hasn't been functioning normally for a while now. The pregnancy wasn't normal. The birth definitely wasn't normal. I mean, Smiley came out of her. I mean, also, her cravings were wild. Remember, she wasn't eating anything at all, but then she started to eat rotting food, like actually craving moldy vegetables. Gathered them up like a squirrel preparing for winter. Y'all remember that? And now that Smiley's back, her body still seems tied to whatever process brought him back. So I don't think it's safe to say that Fatima has become one specific thing just yet. What I can say for sure is that Smiley's birth connected her to the same system that created both the monsters and sacrificed the children. During Henry's scene where he's in the brush, you know, he's walking and he's thinking and he's talking to his family, right before he wakes up in the bed with the doctor and his son, right? He's talking to himself out loud about what he saw and questions if the hospital or, you know, care facility, as, you know, there's some viewers said, he's questioning if it's real. But The part that stood out is how he described what he saw when he woke up. Earlier in the series, for a while, Boyd wondered if Fromville was a dream too. But what's interesting is that Boyd was considering the possibility that maybe he was really in a hospital bed somewhere and his family was around him, and all of this was just something happening inside his mind. At the time, that sounded like fear, but in episode 8, Henry gets shown almost that exact kind of escape hatch. He's shown a version of reality where Fromville can be explained away. Someone called this headcanon, right? The way we keep connecting what Henry is going through to Abby. On the surface, this Boyd revelation sounds like it supports the idea that it's all just headcanon and we're just making connections out of nothing. But I think it strengthens the idea that this is the method that Fromville uses to instigate a massacre. Only it didn't work on Boyd. At the time the town tried it on Boyd, he was still mentally tough. So Fromville found someone else it could run that play on. Henry. That is where the bird painting comes in. In the previous episode, I don't think we saw this angle, but maybe we just missed it. But this time it was clear as day. A few people in the community caught that the bird painting in Henry's vision may match or echo the bird painting hanging in Henry's house. So this is now the second painting hanging in Henry's house that we've seen in this hospital or care facility. Now, I don't want to see any comments of anybody saying they're just reusing props to save money. I'm done addressing that, right? All right, then we get another smaller detail that may be easy to brush off, but I think it's worth mentioning because of how specific it looks. The diner message board seems to have changed. The line is supposed to be, "Hope is the thing with feathers," which is from Emily Dickinson. But in episode 8, the board appears to have shifted towards something closer to, "Hope is the thin with feathers." And if you look at it that way, the missing G kind of stands out. Now, this may be nothing. I mean, it could be a background mistake, right? I mean, it could be just letters falling off the board, but the shot held on it and it was in focus, right? So I don't think that it was a mistake, right? Because this show has trained us to pay attention to signs and writing and drawings and background text. I don't think we can just dismiss this immediately, because if that change is intentional, then the meaning is pretty direct. Hope isn't just the thing with feathers anymore. Hope is thin. At least that's how I put it together. And that fits where the town is right now. So, hope is thin could be a status update for the entire town. Nothing that would affect the plot, but more like a nod, you know? The original Dickinson line already connects hope to birds and feather imagery, and From has used birds before, right? We've talked about the crows. We've heard bird sounds. I mean, one thing that someone brought up was that before Boyd saw all of the bodies, you know, Kenny, I don't remember who else was there, but then he inevitably saw Abby, and then the blood started to come from her mouth. You heard a crow call. So the show has used that imagery enough that it feels like part of the atmosphere. But the detail I think has the biggest finale implications is still the bottle tree, right? Jade wants to remove it because he thinks it may be blocking access to the children's bones. And on paper, I get the logic. If the bones are under the tree, then the tree has to move. But that is exactly why Victor's warning feels so different now. I mean, the boy in white already told Victor not to cut the tree down. And now Jade is walking toward almost the same action Victor was stopped from doing. That makes me wonder if the bottle tree is holding something in place. And if that tree comes down near the road, then we have to talk about the first image of the entire show. A fallen tree blocking the road. Jade may think he's opening the way out, but what if he's creating the thing that starts the trap over again? Be sure to vote in the poll pinned in the comment below.